You know how it is out there. 1 minute, things are looking good, maybe a high dollar load, and the next you're hitting some kind of turbulence, right?
Huh.
Economic shifts, weird stuff on the road.
Yeah, it always feels like you're reacting, doesn't it? Just trying to keep up.
Exactly, like you're at the mercy of things you can't control.
Which is precisely why we're diving deep today. We want to unpack some of these recent stories, things happening right now, and see what we can learn.
Okay, so we've got a mix of things. We looked at articles from truckersva.com covering the mess at the Canadian border with those new tariffs.
Big impact there.
Yeah, and also some, let's just say, unusual delivery stories from the same source. Plus, Ryder's earnings, which can tell us a lot, and this ongoing thing with overcapacity.
And we're also bringing in perspectives from lifeistrucker.com and retirefromtrucking.com too, trying to get that wider view.
Right. The mission here is simple. Connect these dots. How does a tariff spat or a company's earnings report or even a weird delivery actually affect you on the road?
And offer different angles, like Hervey from Life, as the trucker always says, see it from all sides. Hopefully give you some insights to feel a bit more empowered, maybe.
Let's do it. So first up, this cross-border chaos. The new U.S. tariffs hitting Canadian truckers. What's the ground-level reality there?
Well, it seems like it flipped a switch almost overnight. Suddenly, Canadian truckers heading south are facing way more scrutiny.
Like longer wait times.
Oh, yeah. Reports are saying inspection times have doubled or even tripled. That's hours stuck at the border, not moving.
And tons more paperwork, I bet.
Exactly. More red tape, more delays. It just grinds everything down.
And it's not just delays, is it? We heard about loads actually getting canceled because of this.
That's the real kicker. You plan your whole week, maybe your month, around certain loads, and then boom, gone.
Ouch. Direct hit to the wallet.
For sure. The article mentioned one Ontario driver. I think he had 3 loads canceled in just 1 week. Think about that ripple effect. Lost income for the driver, headaches for the broker trying to fix it, delays for whoever was expecting that freight. It hits everyone.
Especially the smaller guys, right? Owner-operators, small fleets.
Yeah, they often have less of a buffer to absorb that kind of sudden loss. It can be really destabilizing.
And like you said, we need to see all angles. It's not just Canadian truckers feeling this.
No, definitely not. U.S. businesses waiting on Canadian goods, they're facing higher costs, potential delays in their own operations.
Disrupts their whole supply chain.
Right. And even U.S. trucking companies involved in cross-border stuff are seeing things slow down. Plus, think about the customs officials. They're swamped.
Yes, suddenly dealing with double or triple the workload.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Canadian politicians are pushing back. But these things take time.
Exactly. These trade disputes aren't quick fixes, so the industry has to adapt somehow.
So what are people doing? How are truckers and companies trying to cope?
We're seeing a few strategies. Some are trying to shift focus, maybe run more domestic routes within Canada.
Makes sense. Less hassle.
Or they're looking south, but maybe towards Mexico instead, exploring other international partners.
Interesting. What about technology?
Yeah, tech that helps predict border times or track freight better becomes even more valuable now. And there's talk about expanding these border relay systems.
Where drivers swap trailers at the border.
Right. So a Canadian driver brings it to the border, a U.S. driver picks it up, avoids the driver having to go through the whole inspection process themselves every time. Could streamline things a bit.
Okay, so for a driver caught in this, what are the key takeaways? What should they be thinking about?
I think the big message is resilience. Don't put all your eggs in one basket,
Diversification.
Exactly. Different lanes, maybe different types of freight, if possible. Domestic routes might not always pay top dollar, but they offer stability when international stuff gets messy like this.
And maybe having a backup plan, like other income streams.
Definitely. It underlines the need for maybe a side hustle or at least a plan B. Some kind of safety net is crucial in uncertain times.
It's total sense. Okay, let's shift gears completely. Some of these other stories were wild. The haunted warehouse. Tell me about that.
Right. This just shows the unpredictable side of trucking isn't always economic. Sometimes it's just weird.
So late night delivery.
Yep. Late night, old, creepy warehouse, middle of nowhere. Lights off, dock door already open. Just an uneasy feeling from the start.
And then noises.
Yeah, strange banging sounds from inside the dark warehouse. Then the lights start flickering.
Okay, getting creepy now.
And then the driver apparently heard a clear whisper.
No way. What did it say?
You shouldn't be here.
Oh, chills. I would have been out of there so fast.
You bet they were. And later they find out there was a fatal accident there years ago. adds a whole other layer.
Okay, spooky factor aside, what's the lesson there for drivers?
Trust your gut, seriously. If a place feels wrong, if your intuition is screaming at you, listen to it. Your safety comes first. It's okay to refuse a situation that feels off.
Good point. Then there was the mannequin load. That's just bizarre.
Pure trucking strangeness. Late on Halloween night, delivering theatrical props to some rural community theater.
And it turns out,
Trailer full of life-sized mannequins, dressed in costumes, all standing upright.
okay, that's nightmare fuel right there.
And apparently, as they were unloading, a voice whispered, "You're late?" Could have been the theater crew, but still.
And the dispatcher's just like, oh, they're dramatic.
Pretty much just the highlights that disconnect sometimes, right? Between the office and the road. The takeaway, expect the unexpected, I guess.
And maybe ask more questions about what theatrical props actually means next time.
Good idea.
And the last weird one, the swingers truck stop.
Chuckles lightly. Yeah, that one's a unique cautionary tale. Driver just pulls in for the night looking for parking.
Had no idea what the place was known for.
Nope. Missed the signs. Apparently blinking lights, glow sticks, maybe some strategically placed pink flamingos.
Flamingos. Serious.
That's what the story said. Then got an unexpected invitation that made things clear.
Wow. Okay, so the lesson there is,
Pay attention to your surroundings before you park. A quick scam could save you some awkwardness, or maybe worse, it's a different kind of situational awareness.
it really does show, though, all these stories. Trucking is so much more than just point A to point B. Adaptability is key.
Absolutely. You have to be ready for anything. Which kind of brings us back to the bigger picture, the economic stuff, like Ryder's earnings.
Right. Why should an individual driver care about Ryder's Q1 numbers dropping? How is that like a freight industry thermometer?
Because Ryder's huge, right? They lease trucks, manage logistics, haul freight. They touch so many parts of the industry. So when their business slows down or their costs go up,
It reflects what's happening overall.
pretty much. Their freight volumes, how many trucks they're leasing out, what they're getting for used trucks, those are all signals about the health of the market.
Like leading indicators.
Exactly. If Ryder says freight demand is soft or that used truck prices are falling, that likely means smaller carriers and owner-operators are feeling that pressure too. Even what they mention about driver costs can hint at future wage trends.
So watching Ryder gives you a sense of the headwinds.
Or tailwinds, hopefully. It helps you gauge the general climate you're operating in. Whether you're a company driver worried about miles, an owner-operator thinking about buying equipment, or even a fleet owner planning ahead.
Gotcha. And that ties into the other big economic issue. Overcapacity. Too many trucks, not enough freight.
That's the core problem, yeah. And it puts downward pressure on rates.
Who's getting squeezed the most by this?
Well, owner-operators are definitely feeling it, especially if they bought trucks when rates were sky high. Now, the payments are still high, but the loads pay less.
Tough spot.
Very. New authorities struggle too, trying to get established when brokers are cautious and freight is tight. Company drivers might see fewer miles.
So lower paychecks.
Right. And brokers are stuck in the middle, shippers wanting lower rates, carriers needing profitable ones. We're hearing stories of drivers taking really low rates, like desperately low, just to keep wheels turning.
That's not sustainable. What caused this imbalance? How did we get here?
It's kind of that perfect storm again. The pandemic boom saw huge demand, rates went crazy, lots of people jumped in, bought trucks.
Supply went way up.
Exactly. Then demand cooled off, people stopped buying as much stuff, warehouses got full, interest rates went up, making financing harder. Suddenly you've got way more trucks than loads.
So in this tough environment, what are the survival strategies? What can truckers actually do?
Well, the obvious stuff first. Cut costs wherever possible. Be lean.
Easier said than done sometimes.
It's true. But also look for niches. Maybe specialized freight, regional runs that are less crowded. Building direct relationships with shippers is huge to potentially more stable work, better rates.
Takes effort, but worth it.
For sure. And this is where the advice from places like lifeassurer.com comes in really strong. It's about future-proofing.
Using your downtime wisely. Not just for resetting hours, but for yourself.
Exactly. We always talk about managing time for the load, for the shipper, for the ELD, but what about managing time for your growth, your security?
Learning new skills.
Yeah. The sources mention things like learning about AI, how could that apply? Or building some kind of online income stream, something separate from the truck.
Like what retirefromtrucking.com talks about. Creating options.
Precisely.
Yep.
It's about building that buffer. Remember the border chaos. Or this overcapacity issue. If rates tank or your main lane gets disrupted, having another source of income, even a small one, can make a massive difference.
It gives you more control, doesn't it, instead of just being reactive?
That's the key. It's about, as they say, getting out on your terms eventually if you want to, or just weathering the storms better while you're still driving, taking proactive steps.
And they even have resources like free guides on using AI and stuff.
Yeah, showing practical ways to maybe use that off-duty time productively to build something you own, something the freight market can't touch directly.
It ties back to seeing the whole picture, right? Understanding the big economic forces like Ryder's earnings, adapting to the weird stuff like Mannequin deliveries, and taking steps for your own future.
Absolutely. It's all connected. Being informed, being adaptable, and being proactive about your own skills and finances.
So summing this all up, it's a complex time. Geopolitical stuff hitting the border, market forces creating overcapacity, and just the everyday unpredictability of the job.
Definitely a lot to navigate. Staying informed is step one. Being flexible is step two.
And step 3 is maybe taking that proactive approach, investing in yourself, managing your time for more than just the next load.
I think that's becoming increasingly crucial. Knowledge is power, sure, but so is adaptability and having options. That's what builds long-term resilience in this industry.
It's about weathering the storms and setting yourself up for success, whatever the road throws at you.
Which leaves us with a final thought, really, for everyone listening. What's one thing, just one concrete step you could maybe take today or this week, using some of that downtime?
To diversify, maybe learn something new, explore one of those side income ideas.
Yeah. How can you start building a little more security, a little more control, so you're not completely reliant on the ups and downs of freight? Planning for the long haul, not just the next delivery.